And good morning to everyone. I'm Federico Lantuono from the University of Foggia in Italy. I'm representing the coordination team of the COREnet project. Thanks to everybody, to everyone for joining us for the third Advisinar, which is part of a series of webinars dedicated to advisors in short food supply chain. So thanks to all of you that are registered in our network. And together with the EU4Advise sister project, we are building this European network of advisors, and your presence and support is very important for us. So today we will spend 1 hour with some presentation given by experts, and this is the network that we are building with more than 600 people registered. You can access from the EU4Advise and COREnet project the database, where it is possible to check country by country who are the advisors registered, their background, and you can get in touch with them and create new synergies and exchange knowledge. So the speakers of today's Advisinars are three, and we will start with an introduction given by Marta Fernandez from Inogestión Ambiental in Spain, and she will share their experience from the living labs that they are developing in the EU4Advise project. I want also to specify that the selection of the topics was also given by the contribution of the attendance in the previous Advisinars. Indeed, we were asking if you have any suggestion, any preference for the topic to cover in the different Advisinars. And one of the most selected topic was living labs and network of open farms. Indeed, the following presentations will be dedicated to the Hungarian short food supply chain living lab, and this presentation is by Viktória Nagy, that is a project manager at Kispetlek in Budapest, Hungary. And the last presentation is a golden case from the COREnet selection, dedicated to the Zala Valley Open Farms Network, and this will be given by Gabriella Mikla. Before starting, we want also to break the ice with you and understand where are you from, what is your background, experience in short food supply chain. So I kindly invite you to take a very few minutes and reply to this survey through the Mentimeter. You can scan this QR code, and then I will launch the survey. You can also access it using the link that is available in the chat, or simply scanning the QR code. Okay, so I leave the Mentimeter survey open, so if someone wants to join later this survey, you can do it directly from the link that is in the chat. And I'm very pleased to leave the floor to Marta for her introduction and presentation about living labs in EU4Advise project. Thank you.
Do you see it in full screen now?
Yes, now it's full screen, yes.
Okay. Well, as Fidel mentioned, I'm Marta Fernandez. I make part of the coordination team of EU4Advise project. And I will present you today the living labs we're using in EU4Advise project as a tool to support short food supply chains. So just a few seconds to contextualize our project. We are a Horizon Europe of a 5-year project, And we are doing project with COREnet. We together are building the first show food supply chain advisory network funded by Horizon Europe. Our main objective is to lay the ground for effective capacity building of show food supply chain actors by supporting advisors as catalysts of the knowledge flow within a European network of short food supply chain advisors, and by promoting the integration of these advisors into the national IKs. So I'm sure all of you have at last heard about the Living Labs. Nowadays, we hear about Living Labs everywhere, but maybe a good part of you don't know exactly what a Living Lab is. So according to the AMS Institute definition, AMS is one of our partners, and they are very focused on setting up living labs. A living lab is a real-life environment where innovations can be co-created and tested in an iterative way with relevant stakeholders before being replicated at a larger scale. It's an experiment in a real context. Living labs provide a perfect setup to validate innovations addressing complex challenges. In EU for Advice, the Living Labs are the testing grounds for experimenting with advisory systems, with policy recommendations, and other materials that we are creating to support food supply chains. And in this case, the experiments are being co-created, tested, and reviewed with key stakeholders of the food chain, such as producers, advisors, policymakers, including IKS authorities, researchers, and consumers. Why did we decide to use Living Labs as tools in our projects? Because they provide direct access to key actors in local realities. They provide the opportunity to do in-depth quality analysis of problems, needs, barriers. They provide the possibility to pilot in real conditions. They help the transition between research and reality. They accelerate this transition, and they allow for more sustainable and more adapted solutions because they are more adapted and more responsive to local realities. How is this co-creation process in a living lab works? So it starts with defining the challenge. We identify the needs and the challenges of real problems. In our case, we could say, like this context was the fragility of short food supply chains and the lack of consideration of this into public policies. From this definition of the challenge, we design an experiment, something that we will test and pilot in a real context through iterative cycles. For example, in our project, the Living Labs define roadmaps to integrate short food supply chain advisors into the national AKIS. From there, we go through iterative cycles into a process of learning, co-learning together, where insights are gathered through discussions, activities, events, via policy meetings, field meetings, with a selection of key stakeholders, representing, as we said, the consumers, the advisors, the policymakers, the researchers, the producers. And then from this, we analyze the replication potential of this solution once it has been tested, and we form policies or recommend business models. In our case, the main output at the level of policy of Living Labs would be policy recommendations. In our Living Labs, the knowledge change is taking place at different levels. It's taking place within each one of the Living Labs, but also between the Living Labs which are participating in the project, and also between this and other Living Labs or other projects beyond our project. Before getting into what exactly are our Living Labs working on, I would like to go back to what was the expected results of our project. I'm sorry, I will silence, I'm sorry, my mobile phone. What was expected from our project was the creation of a European network of short food supply chain advisors, the creation of a European network of policymakers to address this short food supply chain policy context, the integration of short food supply chain advisors into national AKIS, the creation of short food supply chain specific training contents, and the elaboration of policy recommendations to enhance the context of food supply chains and their integration into EKIS. Well, the Living Labs are contributing to all of this, and particularly to the last three. So we have 4 Living Labs in the project, one in Spain, another one in Hungary, another one in Netherlands, and in Ireland. And these Living Labs are contributing to these 3 expected results that I mentioned: the integration of advisors into EKIS, the production of training contents for food supply chain advisors, and the elaboration of recommendations and best practices for regulatory and governance issues. How are Living Labs contributing to this? By identifying the needs and barriers in real settings, by testing, piloting the solutions that we are designing, and by analyzing the replication potential of these solutions. Going into more details, you see the 3 columns are the 3 key intervention areas, which is the integration into EKIS, the training, and the elaboration of regulatory and governance recommendations. Regarding the first one, what the Living Labs have already done is they have contributed to the analysis of competencies that food supply chain advisors should have. They have contributed to identify weaknesses and strengths in the current EKIS governance models, their integration into these EKIS of the food supply chain advisors. And they have designed a roadmap for integration of food supply chain advisors into their national EKIS. Regarding training, the Living Labs have contributed to identify food-related advice needs, as well as identifying the most adapted training tools for providing this capacity building. And they will test the training materials and tools with real stakeholders. Regarding the regulatory and governance issues, they have contributed to identify governance and regulatory barriers hindering the food supply chain development. They have provided best practices in these topics, and they will test and analyze the replicability of food supply chain governance and regulatory best practices. They will elaborate policy recommendations. And the idea with all this that the Living Labs are doing is to monitor what they're doing, to compare the processes in the 4 Living Labs, and to produce recommendations for European policy, but also for replication of these solutions in other contexts and for upscaling. Last, I would like to emphasize, well, we had different starting points, like some of our Living Labs already existed as Living Labs or as community of practice before the project. Others were created during the project, but all of them have an aim of continuation. They will continue it beyond the project. So it's not something that is linked and restricted to the project. Since these are like independent structures, it has been very important to find a balance between their contribution to the project aims, being this like the integration of food supply chain advisors into EKIS, the capacity building of advisors, and the creation of a supportive policy context, and articulate this with all the interests of the Living Labs. So the Living Labs are interested in this EU for Advice aims, but they also have other interests that we have been integrating, but the Living Labs have been integrating, such as producing food supply chain statistics, connecting food supply chains with regenerative movements with low-income communities, promoting sustainable local economies, creating a trademark related to food supply chains. So the Living Labs have been articulating both aims. Also, it has been important to create a balance between give and take. So we get a lot from the Living Labs, like information, testing, but we also need to give them things in exchange. So things that the Living Labs have been providing, for example, has been like information on their EKIS context, on food supply chain policies, things like that. Well, these are very valuable structures. They fulfill key roles in their territories, that they are producing impact at local and regional level. They're informing policymakers on how to support local and small producers. They're supporting small players in acquiring knowledge and skills. They are connecting key stakeholders in these regions. So the role is fundamental. And that was my presentation. I hope I could make it in the 10 minutes.
Thanks a lot, Marta. Very precise. We have a few minutes for questions from the audience. I've already seen one question in the chat and tried to reply to Hannah. If there are any curiosity about the implementation of the living labs, this is a good opportunity that you can interact with the experts and also propose something alternative that can be included in the actual management system of living labs. If among the audience there is somebody with a different experience, we are very happy to hear from you. In order to keep this type of webinars more interactive,
how many of you knew about the living labs? You can do like this. Not many, some, very few. Wow, a lot. Okay.
Now they are increasing. Okay. So I don't see burning questions for you, Marta. Maybe later someone will join and can make a question to you. So now I will invite the second speaker, Viktória Nagy from Kispletek.
Yes, thank you, Fedele.
Hi, good morning, Viktória.
Good morning, welcome everyone. I will try to share my screen. Just a second. Okay. Is it visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. So welcome everyone, good morning. I know it's Christmas is coming, so we are going to share with you good news about our living lab and the process we have already done in Hungary. I'm Vicky from Kislépték Association, which is a representation body of small-scale farmers and short food supply chains in Hungary. And as part of the EU for Advice project, we established a living lab, but as Marta said, it's not restricted only for the project. We are wider than this project, and we have already started our actions before EU for Advice, but this project gives us really good resources to strengthen our work and to test short food supply chain advisory in real life. You can see some pictures at the beginning of our presentation. And I couldn't find only one to describe our living lab because we have so many workshops, trainings, on-farm visits with our mentors and stakeholders. So I just wanted to put a montage here. So what's our vision to start with? From the beginning, as we started this project, we wanted to set up a vision, a broader aim for our living lab goals. And this is about putting or implementing our actions and the short food supply chain advisory into the AKIS at national level and at European level too. We believe that for this whole system, we really need to prepare producers for future challenges and to solve their current challenges too. And we need operating sales channels, and one of these sales channels might be short food supply chains. And also, what's part of our dream is a system that is based on the short food supply chain advisors. We identified that 3 levels of them can be named in Hungary. It might be adapted to other countries, but it really differs on the circumstances in each nation. And what we see that we already have the informal level of short food supply chain organizers. Those are the ones that are working locally without any kind of certification, any kind of training, but they knowledge is based on their locality. They're keen on working with small-scale producers to work for local food systems. So in a way, they are not certified. They are just really keen on working for this, and they might be local initiatives too. The second level in our case is the semi-formal level. They are the short food supply chain facilitators, how we call them. They already receive some training. We provide them this for 3 or 4 years now. This is the short food supply chain organizers training in Hungary. This way we can give them a certified knowledge about how to be a good short food supply chain facilitator. And with this training, they have eligibility for CAP strategic plans in short food supply chains sub-program. This is something new. This happened this year, and thanks to this really great development, we already had nearly 60 short food supply chain organizers attending at our training only this year. So it was a kind of a tool that was really, how to call it, encouraging short food supply chain organizers to learn more and to have a certified knowledge. And the second level would be the formal level. And we just had a discussion with Katalin, the leader of our association, about this, that this system is really flexible, and we are all the time renewing it. And we identified that the formal level is not just for those who are registered in the advisory system of agricultural advisors in Hungary, but they are more. They have more knowledge, more short food supply chain related knowledge. These are not just theoretical knowledge, but also competencies like soft skills, communication, and other really, short food supply chain related knowledge. So this is the dream system that we are trying to build. And on the next steps, I'm going to share you how we are working on it. So at the beginning, we wanted to set the scene at national level to show all the stakeholders what we are planning to do in our living lab. And we had really big workshops with all the stakeholders that are relevant at national level, the Ministry of Agriculture, the Chamber of Agriculture, and other CAP network bodies also were there with us to think about what are the knowledge gaps in the short food supply chain system, how can short food supply chain specific advisory fill these gaps, and how can they and where to provide support, and what are the supporting and hindering factors establishing a short food supply chain advisory network. Thanks to these 2 workshops, we saw that this topic has a really great and wide reach, and everyone who is interested in local short food supply chains was interested in the work of our living lab. So most of them are also still part of our living lab. And then we moved from national level to local level because we identified that it's easier to have a living lab in a smaller territory than at national level, but of course that can also work. And what we like about the living lab is that it's really flexible, and you don't have to have a strict rule how to implement anything. You can change the way as all the circumstances changing, and the stakeholders can come in and left, and etc. So the next step was to take it to local level, and what we saw that in the western part of Hungary, short food supply chains already a little bit developed. There is a good local partner who would like to join our living lab and lead it with to get together with us. It's the Pannon Local Product Nonprofit Ltd, who is the owner of the VR Local trademark. And what we tried to do with them, it was kind of the same as we did it at national level, to find the knowledge gaps at the local level. We organized workshops for it, and also we invited Avi from Amsterdam Institute to help us to kick off this living lab in a professional way. And actually it was a great support that I really recommend for every living lab when they are starting to find someone who is an expert on this field. And what we see is the role of Kislépték Association as leader of the Living Lab is that always there is a need for someone who can translate the policymakers' language and translate the producers' language and find and share it with each other. And also it's always a need to translate all the skills, all the knowledge to short food supply chain level, because most of the trainings and knowledge for agriculture, it's not tailor-made to short food supply chains. So Kislépték is the communicator of and the translator of these things that I mentioned. Who's with us in the Living Lab? I wanted to share it with you because what we see that different kind of stakeholders can bring in different kind of knowledge and support. So feel free, if you happen to organize or have a Living Lab, feel free to reach out to any kind of organizations, NGOs, even national level organizations. So at local level, we have two key partners, the Poland Local Product Non-Profit Ltd. And Thai Kapoch Foundation. They are mostly part as foundation partners. At national level, as I already mentioned, we have a good connection with Chamber of Agriculture, the AKIS implementation body, the Agricultural Research Institute, the Ministry of Agriculture, and also the CAP network. And at this international level, You for Advice and COREnet is a really great support for the Living Lab. And also IT-Connect and Modern AKIS Hungarian partners are involved in our Living Lab. And of course, all the short food supply chain facilitators and organizers in Hungary. I wanted to show you our territory, but it's really not a strict thing because we, in the meantime, always have country or national level actions. But most of the time, our Living Lab is active in 3 counties in Hungary. So we are not Budapest based or not, so we are on the country level really. And it's really based on the needs and the capacities of our Living Lab, because you can imagine that there is a need to do it at national level, but actually the capacities cannot fulfill this need. And it's also really based on the partnerships that we have. So as I mentioned earlier, with the Living Lab stakeholders, we try to identify the knowledge gaps that are in the short food supply chain advisory system, and also as producers level. And we identified 5 key, but also a lot more than these. We created a huge report about these knowledge gaps, and we tried to identify really the 5 most important. And what was really interesting to see that all the stakeholders agreed that these knowledge gaps are not isolated. These are interconnected with each other, and it's not just about production or processing, but it's about logistics, marketing, and regulations also. So what a short food supply chain advisor should be, someone who has a complex knowledge on all of these. So maybe a superhero might be a short food supply chain advisor, but of course we see that they don't have to know everything or be lawyers and producers in the same time, but they have to be able to reach those who can support each different question. So the next step of us was to find those mentors that would be involved in our testing period of short food supply chain mentoring. And here is the question about how to do it, because of course we need a business model or an organizational model for having mentors in our Living Lab. And as the Living Lab is a community-based way of thinking and working, we established a community-based financing model. So actually from EU4Advice budget, of course, from Kislépték side, we could add to this whole process, but we didn't have resources to employ the mentors, and we couldn't ask them to do it for free or on a voluntary basis. But we can provide a professional background, provide them knowledge, training, and also to reach the policy level network of connections. So for filling this gap of finance, we got support from Tajkapocs Foundation and also from Pannon Local Product. They supported us to have salary, to be able to pay salary for the mentors. So it is a strong collaboration. It's their need because the Living Lab is at their territory, and this might be in a long term a good source for them of developing short food supply chains. So with the Pannon Local Product, we are in a stronger collaboration. They provided us a mentor coordinator who worked directly with the 4 or 5 mentors that we had. They provided the local network at the smaller local level. They supported us with the workshop organizations that we had a lot, and also sometimes the catering. They developed an IT system in Sales Autopilot, which was serving the monitoring of the mentoring processes. And it was a huge work of developing it. We were part of this. And it really will be in a long term a help of see everyone how the mentoring of any kind of short food supply chain organizer is going on. And also they provided, the salary came from the Tajkapocs initiative. And what we see now that for the long term, it's a question how to fund this model. And what we know that the Ministry of Agriculture and Chamber of Agriculture is really supporting us technically and morally. So hopefully we will find a solution for this. And the mentors are in the right corner. We had 3 really active mentors and other 2 who were also active, but these 3 were the ones that were everywhere and really working on the field all the time. What we provided them, it was our short food supply chain advisory training to give them the basic knowledge. And then for the upcoming months, we provided them all the knowledge that we had. We supported them with knowledge for how to support producers for the call for short food supply chain projects. And also we provided them the I2Connect innovation training and the soft skills pilot training, which came out of the EU4Advice project. And what were the tasks of the mentors? The first and most important task was to learn and develop. For this, they received all the knowledge from us. Their other task was to develop the VR local trademark and find more and more places, producers who would like to have this trademark, and also to do the audition visits and to use this innovative SAP system for monitoring. And also, as a really new thing in Hungary, this year we had open farm days at the national level, and these mentors were the key actors of organization of this at their counties. Each of them had 10 to 12 farms, and they were the direct contact persons for them. And they had from these 10 to 12, 4 or 5 that needed continuous support to be prepared for these open days, because most of the producers and places have never been part of any such of open farm days. Oh, sorry, I'm out of time, but I don't have so much left. So this was our open farm days, and they also coordinated during these days. It was all in all 5 or 6 days that they had to work on the field with the farms. What are the feedbacks that we received from the farms and the producers? The clear feedback is for the mentoring system, is that there is a clear need for such a support because they cannot receive it from anywhere else, because the general agricultural advisors don't have this kind of knowledge. And also they identified that training and new knowledge is really needed, not just for the advisors, but also for the producers. From the open farm days, we received back that the work of the mentors was really key in order to have a successful program, and the direct support is needed for all the farms that are participating in such a national level initiative. From the mentors, we received that they really enjoyed this testing period, of course. They received a lot of knowledge, and they see that continuous knowledge transfer is a key for their effective work. And also, they need a supporting background, as Kislépték Association can provide this. And the soft skills development is also a key for their work. Other partners also reflected back that we have to continue this work, but we have to find together the best business model for this. And how to move forward? What we see now, that there is a real need for short food supply chain advisory, and Kislépték Association really involved in the discussions about the future of AKIS, and we always reflect and represent the need of it at the meetings with the Ministry of Agriculture and with the AKIS bodies. And it seems like that there is an openness from their side to involve in the AKIS system the short food supply chains in the next planning period. And also in the we are always invited to the discussions about the CAP networks meetings, and we always represent the need for knowledge and innovative knowledge for short food supply chains, and how to move forward, that we really have to find a business plan for the short food supply chain advisory network. Hopefully, the first model that I showed you about the different levels of short food supply chains might be reached by our Living Lab, and we are really strongly working for and on this. And thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, I'm here.
Thank you, Vicky. Thanks a lot. Very inspiring presentation. We have some questions in the chat. Well, the first one was more about curiosity of the meaning of the name Kislépték. So if it's small steps, small level, something small.
Exactly. It's if you translate it from really Hungarian to English, it means small steps, and we support small scale producers and local level initiatives.
It is really the case, small steps for big changes.
Yeah.
The supply chain is very appropriate.
It can be a slogan.
I see a question from Michael Kugler from Fibel in Germany. He's asking about the SECRA system for training. I don't know, Michael, you can also open your mic if you want to ask directly to Vicky, or if somebody else from the team wants to add something, because of course in the EU for Advice and COREnet projects is our objective to develop training materials.
Actually, my answer to this is that we are not cooperating with this SECRA system, but we are really happy to just talk about it. I'm curious, what is this, and maybe we can work together.
Yeah, it is good to have knowledge about other training modules because in our process to organize the training material, the aim is to not replicate what already exists and also provide something that is more concrete and practice-oriented for short food supply chain advisors. But we appreciate this suggestion, so we can check into detail. And then, well, this is mainly a nice comment from Roxana Maria Tiboy from Romania, because she's involved in a district level living lab in Bucharest. So also for you, Roxana, if you want to say something or share something with us, you are free to open your mic.
Yeah, and Roxana, if you would like to reach out to us, I can give you my email address, and then after
hello everyone. Sorry, I was I just need a moment to reach the mic. So I'm from Romania. Thank you for your presentation. I think it would be very interesting to have experience exchange with the Romanian and experience. And we just launched now in order to reinforce or to create synergy and build a network. We launch a series of events with several civil society organization, which is called Bucharest Food Conversation, where we try to bring all area of food system from authorities, public authorities, academic producers, representative civil society, and other and private actors. So I would be happy to connect and to exchange further. And thank you for the invitation and the presentation again. And I was just about to complete the form to register in your
Thank you. I've seen already that somebody has registered in this half an hour. So we are happy for this living occasion to interact with you. And I also want to remind to Roxana that we have a partner from Romania, Civitas, represented by Judith Molnar. So feel free to get in touch with us because
I think
connected with you.
Of course, I think we already had the opportunities, but I would be happy to connect on this. Thank you.
We are also continuously work together with Judith. So Roxana, just reach out to us and we can see how can we collaborate.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have my email in the chat, and
now that I see your face, I remember that we met recently
from the Food 2030. Yeah. Sorry, I just
so happy to see you again and in this webinar.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks. So now we can continue with the last speaker, Gabriella Mikla, that will share the golden case about Zala Valley Open Farm Network.
Yes, we are trying then to share the presentation.
Please.
Yes. You see it?
Yes, we can see it. The floor is yours, Gabriella. Thank you.
Okay, so just very quickly, I would introduce ourselves because I am in a very lucky situation that next to me here is Tibor Szabo sitting, who is the program coordinator for this whole project, let's say. So we are from the Zala Valley Open Farms. I'm a member of the steering group, and I got the honor to make this presentation for you today. I think I first jump to this slide, actually, that you should be able to locate where we are. This is actually the western part of the country, which is normally a more developed region of the country. But this region where the Zala Valley Open Farms are located is actually
not a very well developed region. And the main reason for this is that it's just stuck in between two other regions with high potential. And that's one of the main reasons for being a less developed region. The participants, you see that the number of participants, most or the majority of these participants are small-scale family farms or family enterprises. We started with about the half of the number, so 18, with 16 farms, and you see that's quite a big jump in numbers. So the number is already doubled. And actually all types of farms and all types of agricultural enterprises are represented. You see the next picture. So it's not like an association of wine growers or an association of meat producers or florists or whatever, but these 36 farms involve a very wide variety of farms or enterprises. So you can find wine growers, you can find palinka, of course, you can find meat products, cheese, florists, and also, for example, some that are agro-touristic activities, so not producers. For example, restaurants, accommodations, or one of our members that joined the open farms is an artist, is a componist, and he organizes on his farm some concerts and music events. So as you see, it's a very wide variety of members, which is on one hand really a beautiful thing, and on the other hand, let's call it challenge. What we offer, this slide with the small icons is showing what these farms are offering. So it's not only the main idea is that you don't only go there and you can buy products and that's it, but it's a very wide variety in terms of activities as well. So you can travel there by bike. There's a farmer where you can rent an e-bike. You can do hiking between the farms due to the locations that the majority of these farms are within reach to each other. And the producers are also not only selling products, but for example, you can go there and work in the farms in a certain form, or you can participate in various activities on the certain farms. And some of the farms are also included in education activities. So you have lessons, or you have classes for kindergarten, for schools, and also for adults. So it's also about sharing the knowledge that has been accumulated by these farms. And this has, of course, several advantages also for the farmers, because many of the agricultural activities have a certain seasonality. And this diversification of the activities also helps the farmers to eliminate or to reduce this seasonality. And on the other hand, it's also a possibility to gain income not only from sale of products, but also related other so revenue from other related activities. So just taking an example of a vineyard, of course, you grow the grapes and you make the wine and you sell the wine, but you can offer and invite people working in the vineyard, share the knowledge linked to that, or organize wine tastings, or you can even offer accommodations somewhere near your yard. So it's in case of most of the farmers, it's a very wide range of activities. Valamit nem mondanék, akkor nyugodtan. This is just a list of examples that I was just listing. So you see there are a few examples of what we offer. And what we want to emphasize, and with what we have very good experience, is that you can work individually and you can show your farm and you can organize events for your farm. But the Zala Valley Open Farms is actually a network of farmers, and what we are trying to improve and what we are trying to use is to improve the cooperation between the farmers. So this is something that we have very good experience with. So if, for example, there is a hiking tour, there is a tour organizer who is inviting the guests, and this tour is going between the farms, visiting 2, 3, 4 farms, and eating on one place and drinking some wine on the other, and having a farm tour on the third one. And this collaboration has brought so far very positive experiences to all parties involved. And based on this good experience, and based on the foreign experience that we were informed through Tibor and through the local action group, leader action group, we were organizing this year open farm days. This slide shows the experience of the first such day, and there have been 2 others since then. So this means that we offer one day. This was the 3rd of May, the first one, where which is a so-called open farm day, and actually it's not an obligatory thing, but the farms can mandatorily say, okay, I want to participate or not. But as you see, 27 out of the 36 farms were already participating on the first such occasion, which was actually, we can say, a big success, in a sense that we always have a feedback session afterwards. We have a questionnaire that everybody returns, because it's very important that we learn from these occasions, and that we build in our experience for organizing the next open farm day, for example. So the feedback that the most participants were saying after this day was that they were not expecting that many of visitors. So it was a very good proof for us that we are much stronger when we work together, and when all the marketing and such activities it's organized together. The main idea of such an open farm day is that that's a day where you open your gates, and you cannot require a registration. So anybody during these hours from 12 to 19 or 7 p.m. arrives, you can come in without entry fee, without entrance fee, and without preliminary registration. And we were also fixing that everybody has to offer one free program element. So it's not like you go in and you can't do anything and you can just buy something. So either you offer a tour on your farm, or you offer a free tasting of jam or whatever, but each farm should have offered a free program element. And of course, for the rest, you could freely decide what else you want to bring in. So if you offer a tour in your vineyard, for example, when I stay by this example, but and you offer maybe a glass of wine free, but you can also offer at the same time a wine tasting of whatever 6 different wines, and of course that's not free of charge. So that's the main idea behind this open farm day, with which we have a very positive experience. And we have organized 2 other such days, another one in the spring, in the first days of June, and another one in the autumn. Most nem kell, igen. So, a few words about how the network has been established. So this Zala Valley Open Farms Network, which is actually a voluntarily free network of farmers. Here, the short food supply chain organizers, Tibor and this organization sitting next to me, has a crucial role. So if you just imagine bringing together, I don't know, 3 people only, but we are talking about 16, 20 farms from the beginning. Everybody with a totally different background, as of education, as of motivation, as of scale, as of activities. So it's quite hard to imagine that this would have worked without having a central organization coordinating and managing the whole process. And the other thing is that there are definitely fields where either the time or the expertise is not there. So if you see just these examples of website building or editing a brochure or making some online marketing or even organizing an event, what is legally allowed or what is not allowed, what can I offer? It's not everybody in the organization who has this knowledge. So even for the establishment and throughout the whole process, there is a very strong need for a background organization, for professional partners, for professional backgrounds and experiences. And you see down here the Farmwell project, Kislépték as well, and Smart Chain, which all were involved in this whole process of establishing the Zala Valley Open Farms, and also in the years of operation. How the whole Open Farms network was established. This is a slide which gives you an insight of how this whole organization came to life. So the history behind is that the leader local action group was supporting such short food supply chain projects also in the past, so before 2014. But in all cases, these were individual projects, individual farmers without any connection between each other. And this kind of supports and this kind of projects had also their use, but there was no visible added value for this project. So the local action group was considering how could this be made better? How could these farmers work together as a network? And since in Hungary there were no such examples at that time being, there were study tours organized in the frame of the EcoStyle project, also with the involvement of Kislépték. And the main focus of these visits, these study tours, was to find some best practices, was to find some good examples to see how this support of the local farmers could be carried out on a better way than before. And starting from this project in 2015, there was a regional food system analysis carried out. As such, it's a study, and that was the first time that such an analysis has been carried out in Hungary. And this was also conducted by the local short food supply chain experts, by Kislépték and by Frau Katalin Kujani. And the result of this process was a comprehensive study with all the recommendations and all the experiences gathered together. And there were, of course, many other options inspected, like having local markets or various forms of support. But the recommendation was actually that came out of this analysis was to try to launch an open farms program. So to try to bring these farmers together in an organized form and to start these cooperations. And this study also listed many steps of implementation. So based on this, the leader local action group started to work on the establishment of this open farms network. There are some of the actions listed here which has been carried out. So there were still study tours, but this time also the farmers were involved so that they see what could be the benefit for them to be involved in such a project. There were workshops, there were many external experts invited that they shared their knowledge. And in 2018, based on all this experience and this step-by-step improvement, the founding charter and the operating rules were defined. So basically that's the year where the Zala Valley Open Farms was established. And what Tibor said was a very good sentence that he said when we were preparing, that during this 2 years process, from the farmers that were strangers for each other, a community has been formed. And this is actually the major benefit of this network, that the farmers work together as a community. So they are supporting each other on various ways. And the work of the experts and of the support. Okay. I try to speed up a little bit. So the support didn't stop by the foundation in 2018 because of course during the operation there is something you imagine how it will work, but the practice of course shows something different. So this means that everything had to be adapted step by step to the reality, let's say, to real life. And of course, there are still trainings, marketing activities organized, but all these activities are actually now based on the needs of the participants. So it's not driven from the top this time, but is driven from the bottom when people are saying what would be needed or what would be the things that improve the cooperation. One thing that was emphasized, we were talking about the mentor programs before. This is something we had in these 2 years through an advisor that had actually a very strong commitment, because his family was also a founder of the open farms. And she was trained to be advisor, and she was working 2 years long as a mentor for the organization, which had quite a lot of benefits. So she had more visits one-to-one to each farm. She could directly share the experience between the farmers, and she could give really tailored support and tailored advice for each farm. In different fields. So you see here how to be a better host, how to be a better service provider. And she was very good at establishing links, because when you have 36 farmers, there are 5-6 that maybe you are closely related, but there could be another 2, 3, 4 who have experience and practices that could be applied on your site as well. So she was very good at building stronger links. Here once more, what I was already emphasizing before, that the leader local action group, Tibor and the team, had a very, very strong role in establishing and in operating the whole network. So of course, in the initial phase, almost daily support was needed. And it's very important that this Open Farms program was also a key priority for the inside or within the whole leader strategy. And there was a big focus laid on this. regarding funds and also regarding the animation activities. So it was from the very beginning a very emphasized part of the local action groups tasks. Here's some examples for the practical support that we receive even until today. So it's workshops, meetings. It's very important sometimes when you have some misunderstandings or some discussions between the members to have a kind of coordinating role and to smoothen these discussions. And this level, just I'm not telling all what is listed here, but this support can be made even until the level that you have to, that they write the text for you. So you make an event and you need support, you don't have time, you don't have the tools, and even really very detailed, until very detailed level. And okay, I jumped here. You saw that it's a very big investment from the advisor, from the short food supply chain advisors. Is it worth or not? Mainly, this is the answer to this last question. There is a ratio that's called social return on investment, what is trying to measure by very objective measures what is the return of the money that you invested. So in case of the Zala Valley open farms, this percentage is 424%, which when we translate means that you invest €1 and you get 4.22 euros in return, mainly in the fields of well-being impacts and social impacts, which is difficult to measure, but as you see, it's possible. So since time is up, that was quickly what we wanted to tell. And if you have questions, just please tell.
Yes, thanks a lot, Gabriella. Very interesting presentation and detailed. We really appreciate that you shared with us all the steps, all the different, also some difficulties that you had to face in the different years of implementation. So this is a valuable example. I also invite people from the audience to share some ideas, questions, whatever. I can see here in the chat there is one question from Hans de Han, and he was asking to you if there are any tourism or leisure organizations involved in the cooperation with the farmers, or if the involved partners have a leisure focus or leisure department, or is your own specialty about leisure and tourism?
Yeah, I don't know what is meant by leisure. So like, I don't know, wellness or whatever. So leisure in general, I would say no, because we were working a lot to define what means agro-touristic activities.
Yeah.
So leisure only in that sense, if it can be related with somehow with agriculture. So it's very important for us that we don't go into the direction of, let's say, wellness services or this way, but the link to the agriculture and the direct link to the farm has to be there. And as long as it's leisure, I don't know, we have some of these kind of activities. So
Yeah.
some voice therapies, some music therapies, but it's an important point that it has to be in a rural environment and it has to be right there on the farm. So once this condition is fulfilled, then there can be any leisure. But if such organizations are involved, it's actually only a temporary basis, maybe for some projects. If that was the question.
Yeah, thanks. For me, it's clear. I don't know if Hans wants to add something. You are free to open your mic if you want, but he's writing in the chat. Thanks. Okay, so I think you replied to his question. Before concluding, if there are other comments, please share them with us. And I also invite you to complete the survey through the Mentimeter, because the last few questions are dedicated to the next, the organization of the next Advisinars. And we want to ask you any suggestions, if you have preferences about topics or specific needs. So I take the chance to thank all the speakers that have kindly participated and dedicated some of their time to organize this presentation and interventions. Thanks a lot.
Fedele, just a short question. In the Menti, I think you need to pass to the next slide, probably.
Okay.
I studied in the first one, which was what you expect from the network.
Okay. Do you see this one about the topics?
Yes. No, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Marta. Yeah, so we will inform you about the new program that we are developing together with you for advice. I can spoiler that we are working on a joint calendar, and Marta is one of the key players in the organization of the coming Advisinar. And we want to have this on a monthly basis. We will try to be constant. So for this reason, it's important to have your feedback and your active participation, because we really trust on this type of interaction, because we want to involve all EU member states, and in person we know it's not always easy, not only in terms of distances but also costs. So if we can do this and open new paths, at least online, it's a good starting for developing this European network. I see that you are replying to this, and I switch to the last one in case you have a specific topic that you want to suggest. This is an open question. And as I said before, last time someone from the audience asked for living labs. So today we included the topic of living labs. So we appreciate if you indicate a specific topic. That is also helpful for us in order to define the program and invite the right speakers. We are recording this and soon it is also available for you or for those advisors that were not able to join today. Sorry if it took a little bit more than expected, but the conversations were really useful and inspiring for all of us. So next time we try to keep it a little bit tight. But I thanks again everyone and those of you that is still connected with us. Thank you.